Bob and Jane earn the same income but have different borrowing capacities. How is this possible? Well, let's talk about why borrowing capacities vary from bank to bank. G'day, I'm Aaron Christie David, mortgage broker and founder of Atelier Wealth. I specialize in helping Australian families start out and scale up their investment property portfolios. The burning question on every new investor's mind is, well, how much will the bank lend me? The short answer is, it depends. Each bank has a different calculation method to working out your borrowing capacity. And it's super important to be aware of this fact because it can mean the difference between buying a mediocre property and a high-performing property. So, in today's video, I want to talk to you about what affects your borrowing capacity. But before we get started, I just want to preface that this video is general in nature and not intended to give advice. I always suggest having a chat with a qualified mortgage broker who can give you the best guidance for your situation. Okay, so the best way to explain borrowing capacity is to use an example. Let's say you're single and earn a salary of $100,000. There are 3 reasons why different banks will give you different borrowing capacities. The first reason relates to different assessment rates. When a lender applies a stress test interest rate on your loan application, some have a higher assessment rate, which naturally lowers how much you can borrow. A stress test is when a bank checks to see if people can repay their loan at a higher interest rate than their current rate. The second reason has to do with your living expenses. Each lender has different benchmarks for living expenses. For example, some banks take a higher amount for your living expenses. Some may add on your health insurance as well. Lastly, different lenders consider different additional income sources. For example, let's say that in addition to your $100,000 salary, you also get bonuses or commission or overtime or allowances. Naturally, these additional income sources will increase your borrowing capacity, but each bank has a different way to calculate and factor in this income. For example, some banks want to take the average of your last 2 years of bonus income, while other banks will look at your most recent 12 months worth of bonus income. Now, you may be wondering how other debts impact your borrowing capacity. Things like HECS, credit cards, car loans, car leases, personal loans, rent, and salary sacrificing will all reduce your borrowing capacity. But again, just remember that different lenders have different calculations on how each of these debts will bring down your maximum borrowing capacity. So, how does a bank look at your borrowing capacity as a property investor? First off, they'll have a look at your rental income. Some banks will consider 80% of your weekly rental income, whereas others may consider 100% of your weekly rental income. They'll also consider all of your property expenses, such as strata fees and ongoing maintenance costs. Lastly, they'll consider whether your investment loan will be interest only or whether you'll be paying principal and interest as well. So, when you're asking, how much can I borrow, and you don't get a simple, straightforward answer, it's all these differences that can make the difference. Being able to purchase a high quality investment property can sometimes mean stretching your borrowing capacity. And you wouldn't want to miss out on a property just because a bank applied a different method to working out your borrowing capacity. So always branch out and make sure you consider a few different lenders to see how much they're willing to lend before settling on just one loan product. If you have any more questions relating to your borrowing capacity, you can access a link to our FAQs in the description box below. Otherwise, I hope this video has been helpful when it comes to understanding the ways that banks calculate your borrowing capacity. Stay tuned for more property investment tips by hitting the subscribe button, and I'll see you in our next video.